Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast. Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
I'm just doing a podcast with Cricket Club. We started in
There's Gav pretending to be on phone. It won't be a bird he's talking to anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, sorry, I can't, mate. I'm doing this podcast with...
Right, Shez?
It won't let me on.
You're on. I can see you.
Oh, you're here. We're here. We can see you.
Cheers, pal. Ta-ra.
But why can't I see anybody else?
All right, Ian, what have you been welding today, Shez?
Look at these dickheads.
What have you been welding today, Shez? Christ almighty. You don't go to Specsavers, you go to Everest. I've cracked that on before, haven't I? But it'll stand repeating. Christ almighty, Shez, if the sun gets behind them glasses, you could burn a hole in a steel sheet.
Yeah. It's something you won't know about, Stan. It's called style.
Nick Hope's coming on board from Mill Palmeiras.
I can't see anybody.
What about when we turn up? When someone talks?
I can see you.
Yeah.
I can see Stan and Gav.
Well, that's all that's on so far, dickhead.
I can see Matt Hope. I can see Beneducci's stomach.
Look at these two here. What's he called off Benidorm? Donald, is it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
The hellfire.
Hi, Jez. Hi, Nick.
Evening all. Hey, Joe. Thanks for sorting this out, Joe. You're a star.
It's all right. We've been on for 8 minutes and it's already been carnage.
Yes, are they your real glasses?
Say again.
Are they your real glasses? Or are you just wearing them for a joke?
No, they pretend.
Unfortunately, false moustache fell off, but the big nose and glasses stayed on.
Oh, dear.
He's got about 7 pairs, haven't you? You showed me them all, Uncle Ian.
Yeah, one for each day.
Yeah.
Uncle Ian, good lad.
Where's Lowerhouse anyway? He's just finishing off the finishing touches to invading Poland. Fucking hell, Shez, them glasses are incredible. Fucking unbelievable.
He's got a different
Have
pair
you
on
got,
now.
have you got some patio doors for him?
They're different ones.
Yeah, his last ones were slightly smaller. They were only 8 foot by 3 foot. No, he had memories of last time he was there.
All right.
What happened last time, Stan?
He
Carried on in disgrace. The thing
Right
is,
off of his cell.
he'd been gone an hour before I missed him.
It would have been late though, wouldn't it?
When you've got to be taken home by Scott up, you are on your downers, aren't you? Hey, bloody hell.
Why has he got Brian Holmes' shirt on?
Just tell you a story about that. There were 48 bottles. I think he's called Smiley Joe's, isn't he? Is he called Jack? Smiley Jack's, he's called Joe.
Smiley Jacks,
right?
you dickhead.
Smiley Jack's, he's called Joe. Have I got that right, Nick?
No, it's Smiling Jacks. It's called
Yeah.
Joe.
Joe?
Sorry, Nick.
What the fucking name's that? Anyway, he decided he's not, because we're in for about the 3rd day on the trot, he's not going to collect our bottles because we're on San Miguel at €1 a bottle.
Yeah.
There's 48 bottles stacked up on this table next to us. We're watching Burnley's annual 2-1 victory at Everton. And a couple come and sit next door to us. I'm laughing because I know what's coming. And she orders a gin and tonic and he orders a bottle of red wine. He turns round to us and he goes, "At last, some profit." Of course, of the 48, Shields had 3 and gone home.
Yeah. Scott had to take him home in a taxi, 4-mile taxi, come back and put him to bed and then come back, and it was still only 8 o'clock when he come back.
Oh no!
But
Bloody
to be
hell.
fair, Tuesday when he woke up in the morning, he said, "Oh, I do feel refreshed."
Yeah, is that
When we
true?
asked for the bill, you remember, it was €55 because we had 48 bottles of San Miguel and a jug of fat frog.
Yeah.
What's Fat Frog, Nicky?
Right.
Sugar, weren't it? Green
That
sugar.
wanted it.
There was Blue Wicked, Iron
It
Brew,
lagered out.
Anasterna Bitters, half a lager. It was something else.
Did you say Blue Wicked, Stan? Nicky would have enjoyed that.
Is there a song in that?
Oh, go on, John.
Sorry, Nicky.
Dan, I wonder what happened to what goes on tour these days.
Oh,
Yeah, we're all friends, Jez.
Yes, the standards have gone there. This is why, when you come on the Lancashire League Executive, this is why traditional cricket policing will be restored.
It will. It'll prevail.
I bet it's the right laugh on there, isn't it?
No. You'd be
You
surprised.
won't be able to stop laughing, will you?
You'd be surprised, Jez.
And even in Stan Heaton. Excuse me, Mike, I need to sort my sides up.
Lads, just looking at the pictures on here, do you not think Paul Stanley's turning into a right grand old chap?
Feel like an old chap.
What's up, Stanley? What's up? Why are you feeling old? You're only young.
I'm not.
Oh,
You are. How old are you?
Big night last night.
Oh dear.
Big day.
Oh,
Big day.
don't bring that up.
big day
Don't bring that
today.
up, Paul.
Right. What's that there, Stan? What are you drinking there, Stan?
well, unless I go straight on neat dead man's fingers, I'm on Bailey's. Right, so, Nicky, bloody hell, I've put 4 gins, 3 dead man's fingers, a rum and coke, half a bottle of Control. Christ almighty, can I not just tone it down a bit?
Where did you put them dead man's fingers, Stan?
Put my arse.
But it's as your ass, Stan. You've got a dead man's arm up there.
Order! Send more house to save the house!
Hello and welcome to the Housecast, Lowerhouse's official podcast. Hey, Shez, you all right? This is the second Christmas podcast after last year's, obviously, which was an amazing success. So we thought we'd do it again this year with similar cast of characters. We've got lots of guests on tonight. Our first one is the chairman of the club and Lowerhouse legend, Stan Heaton. How are you, Stan?
I'm very well, thank you, Joe. It's an absolute honour and a pleasure to be here once again. I hope we have a great time tonight.
Me too. What have you been up to?
Well, I can't exactly enthrall the listeners with tales of ripping rotten leaves out of the gutter. Obviously, I'm still Keith Fairclough's official carer. The club, of course, rolls on during the winter with plenty of. We're still looking to upgrade plenty of the facilities, so it's less pressurised, Joe, but still busy. Thanks for that.
No problem at all. Thanks, Stan. Our next guest is another Lowerhouse legend, and that is Ian Sheridan, aka Shez, aka Uncle Ian. How are you, Uncle Ian?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good show.
Looking forward to tonight's entertainment, having already been entertained enough already, and looking forward to the anecdotes and, in particular, Nicky Hope's version of the "It on the Head at Chapman."
What have you been up to, Uncle Ian?
Welding.
The normal. working, being very busy, and general dog's body for everybody.
How's the band?
Band's still very poor, and I'm still singer.
Fair enough. So if you want to go and see them, you're more than welcome. Our next guest is another Lowerhouse legend, the second team captain, Matt Hope. How are you, Matt?
Thank you. Yeah, very well. I was here a little bit early. Just told me the bum steam was at 7:30, so I've been here over an hour now, but it's worth it.
Yeah, looks like you've got good company.
Yeah, good company. Cheers. No, so I'm looking forward to some good laughs and some good memories.
Excellent stuff. Our next guest is another Lowerhouse legend. No longer plays, but comes down quite a lot, and that's Gav Shields. How are you, Gav?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Joe. Yeah,
good stuff. You've got one eye on the football.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll concentrate. Sorry.
That wasn't.
That's very fitting, Joe, because he only ever had one eye on the cricket ball.
It's Baden.
Yeah.
How have you been, Gav?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, not bad. Been wasting my weekends watching Burnley and having a few pints with lads, but yeah, other than that, all's good, thank you.
Now, you are part of Stan Heaton's Burnley think tank, which is I don't know if you're privy to this, but you have a meeting at half time with Stan and Roger Brown.
Basically, what happens, Joe, is we have a pint at half time, and I have to explain to Stan what's happened at first half because I don't have a clue.
I once went on a game with Stan. We'd been on a coaching course, so it was supposed to be a 4-week coaching course, and he organised with the person running the course to do it in 4 hours. So then he could go and watch. Burnley. Treated me to a burger, and then for the whole of the first half, I don't think he watched a single kick of the ball. He was just abusing people around him.
Yeah, sounds like Stan. Yeah.
And then, of course, we go on at half time and we listen to what Shields has to say. And then we turn to his dad for something sensible. Shields and Matt Stanley, of course, who again has failed to turn up through fear, are heads of the Dark Out campaign. And that just about sums it up for me.
Thanks. Thanks again, Stan.
Welcome.
All right. Our next guest is another Lowerhouse legend, and that is Paul Stanley.
Hey!
Hey!
How are you, Manage?
Hello, Joe. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
It's good to be here. Good to be amongst friends and enemies.
Yeah, always good to see you, Manage. I don't think we don't talk enough. I don't think.
No, I don't talk to a lot of people, Joe. You're not the only one I don't talk to from September to April.
I've started ringing Joe Beneducci, so you can be awaiting my call, Manager.
Ring me whenever you like, Joe. Ring me whenever you want.
Well, you'd be better off ringing Paul Stanley than Joe Beneducci. Bloody hell.
Well, Martin, the only reason you ring Joe Beneducci is to look after his cat, though, isn't it?
Well, I can't say anything about that, but I'm always available for cat sitting duties if anybody needs me. Our next guest, coming in from Spain, is Lowerhouse legend, former captain, Nicky Hope. How are you, Nick?
Do you not care what I've been up to?
Yeah, carry on. Manager, do yeah, absolutely. What do you manage?
You're saying you don't ring me?
No.
I've been doing my charity work. I'm ministering booster jabs, shopping for old ladies. I've been helping homeless.
How many old ladies have you got?
A few.
Where do you buy them, Stanley?
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I do help the homeless. As Joe Beneducci found out last night, I donated some apples to an homeless guy on the street last week. Made me feel better about myself.
Well, that's nice, man.
You don't have to tell the story.
Stanley, there's got to be a punchline to that.
There isn't. It was sat outside. I just browsing cold, so I give him half a dozen apples. I went in and bought him half a dozen apples.
What kind of apples did you get?
He had no teeth to eat them with.
He made it into cider.
Fan of a Braeburn apple for the record. Thanks. Thanks, Manage.
Red ones, Joe.
Red ones. Yeah. Could be I don't know, Coxers maybe.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Anyway, ask Nicky how he is now.
How are you, Nick? What have you been up to?
Fantastic, Joe. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well.
Thanks for inviting me on this.
It's all right. We need it.
Times. All fantastic. Retired life's treating me fantastically well. I'm golfing for England. I go to Spain once a month for a week. Although this this unicorn virus or whatever it's called, he's obviously worrying me because I don't know whether we're going to be able to get home. But we need to get home for Christmas. But no, fantastic. Just loads of golf. Being here with Jez we came here on Monday, something like that. And it's lovely to just spend time with him. We've come to do a load of jobs because the house is getting a little bit in disrepair. And so far, I've got a list of 47 jobs, and we've done one of them. And I'm going to pay somebody to do all the 46.
Have you let Jez dig a hope onto the golf course, Nick?
No.
Jeff.
No.
Jeff.
He's walked round once, standing that hard enough. Because it's not his game in golf.
No. Amazingly, really.
Wednesday, hang on. I golfed on Wednesday, I think it was. I only set him about 5 tasks. I come back, he'd done sweet fuck all, apart from drink about 12 cans for San Miguel. So we're not.
But you did ask him to empty the bin, and he managed that after he filled it.
Yes, yeah. George, brilliant, thank you. Home Sunday, and then for Christmas, as long as this abacus virus or something, whatever it is, don't stop us.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I put a call out for people to get the booster jabs? I don't know if you can, but maybe get a booster if you can.
Thanks, Joe.
I got mine today. I've
had 3, Joe.
A lad who plays at our golf club, we play every 3 times. 45-year-old, got COVID, anti-vaxxer, 9 weeks in hospital, got pneumonia, was so close to dying, unbelievable. Played golf against him on Saturday. He was like a wreck. He looked 75, and he didn't want to talk about it. So I said, "Don't tell me when to stop if you don't like. But what do you think now?" He said, "Well, I caught it at the same time as my mate, who had 3 days in bed sniffling, and I nearly died. So what do you think? I should have had the vaccine."
And did he beat you at golf or not?
No.
Did you knock it around in 65 as well?
So anyway, get your vaccines, you dickheads.
Right. And we have our 2 usual hosts of the podcast. Our first one is sat next to Nicky Hope, and it's Jez Hope, again, Lowerhouse legend.
Yeah.
How are you, Jez?
Yeah, good, thanks, Joe. It's been a great little trip we've had. Nicky's economical with the truth a little bit. There was 47 jobs, but 42 of them were easy peasy, change a plug, a little bit of grouting, just maybe let's put a new socket in here or a tap for the sink. But so I've tried to do the most of those. Nicky goes playing golf and leaves me to paint the outside of the whole villa. So I've got the ladders up. I've tried to do as much as I could when he kicked me out of bed in the morning. Not literally out of bed, we weren't sleeping together, but out of the upstairs apartment. And I didn't finish it. He comes back half cut at 5 o'clock bollocking me.
And I can just see you and Nicky in bed like Morecambe and Wise, striped pyjamas on, going up, squeezing the grapefruits and catching the toast.
Yeah, with a cup of tea.
Yes,
It's been brilliant. No, we've had a good little trip, and we'll see how it goes from there. Just one thing for the fantastic punk lad in Sheridan. I don't know what I want, but I know how to get it, Shez.
No, neither do I. Just want to destroy passers by.
That's it. Good lad. He don't fail, does he? Well done, Ian.
Our final guest tonight, who is actually a host of the podcast, is Joe Beneducci.
Hey!
How are you, Dooch?
Thanks, Joe. A bit fuzzy-headed, actually, because we had some of us on this call had a really good night out last night, but not everybody, just a select few. No dickheads allowed.
Noted.
Excellent. Have you been up to much, Dooch?
Last Saturday, I witnessed somebody score 43 Stableford points and win the competition.
Really?
Somebody on this call.
And what's that mean? 43, 26? Is it high or low?
43, seven under par. Matt Hope, 7 under par.
That must be Matthew Norman Conquest Hope.
That Conquest or Codpiece?
Excellent. Well, he should have told us about that. That was.
He's modest, isn't he? He's modest, too modest.
Yeah. Let's get started. I will start as ever with Christmas coming up. We are obviously close to the Christmas drink, or as Stan christened it, Joe Beneducci's Christmas drink. So Stan and Jez, I think that you would have been at the first iteration of the Christmas drink. So if you have any stories of how it started, I think we might have covered it in a previous podcast, actually. But any stories from that and how it's developed over the years would be great.
I'm looking at 1980, when I'm just about getting the first team. We're getting a bit of a social section going, if that's the right word. And Roger Brom, everyone thinks Roger's a quiet, no, he doesn't drink much. But in those days, he was a serious drinker. I think, Stan, if you can build us up to when you and Rog first started having a pint and playing cricket, and then we'll start thinking about where the first Christmas drink was for Lowerhouse.
Well, I'm not sure Roger would thank us for this accurate character assassination, but at first glance, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Roger was sort of a Sunday school teacher. Far from it. And his ability to drink, certainly back in the day, we're all lessen our capacity as we get older. Certainly back in the day, Roger was the original hollow legs drinker at Lowerhouse Cricket Club.
Area.
And I can tell a celebrated story where he once said that he'd never be affected by drink and didn't turn up for a match back in the day, which featured the late Brian Tracy, God rest his soul. But Roger Roger was my best man at my wedding, and he's a fantastic guy. He's sweet-natured, funny, whilst being unassuming. He's not sort of shouting in your face funny. And he's a serious drinker. And we began these Christmas get-togethers largely as an outlet for Roger's domino play.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because unbeknown to many at the time, Roger was one of the foremost dominoes players in Burnley. He didn't play for a team, he didn't play in a league, but he was nevertheless a dominoes legend in the General Williams to Rosegrove area. And we began the Players' Drink as a vehicle for Roger's domino playing, and it snowballed from there. Unfortunately, Roger, he was injury prone as a cricketer, and he was injury prone as a dominoes player because he developed knocker's knuckle. And through repeated knocking, he had to retire from the game. I was there when it happened in the General. It really he slunk home in disgrace. But it's important actually that we resurrect the Players' Drink, because something like 5 or 6 years ago there were 100 in attendance. I think last year there were about 12. Joe Beneducci will correct me, because I'm ashamed to say I didn't go. So let's get it back together again. Let's have a real good drink, plenty of dominoes. Matt Hope knows this. Some of the stakes get incredible, but you don't have to play for them. Some might be playing for £1 a point. You can play for a penny a point. Same with the cards. Chase the ace, it's all there. Great ale, great company, great conviviality, and a little bit of abuse.
Stan, can I just swap abuse for banter?
Yes, I didn't mean criminal offence abuse. I meant banter abuse.
Yeah, albeit banter now is being seen as maybe it's not appropriate. But no, that you're perfectly right, and that's great. Can I ask how many people have attended a Christmas drink in the back room before the club got attended?
Oh, Nicky.
You have you?
What? Can I just develop that? Because back in the day, when the club was 2 rooms and certainly not wind or rain proof, and they wouldn't put the heating on because it either broken down or they couldn't afford it. The current boiler room could seat 3 people on a bench on the left-hand wall, 3 people on a bench on the right-hand wall, 2 on the back wall, and 1 behind the door. So on a Saturday afternoon, luminaries such as Duncan Hall, Kevin Higgins, Jack Hayes, Jerry Dawson, Bill Beardsworth, a name not known to many, myself as a juvenile guest, Peter Duckworth, Roy Duckworth, we're all cramming there. The downside was, well, the upside was we were warm. Several people in a small room, in fact, in a tiny room. The downside was you want to go for a whiz at the same time. You want to go to the bar at the same time. And if somebody farted, it was mayhem. They were, as Paul Stanley would say, we were happy when we were shit.
I think, well, Joel, so then it developed from those stories Stan says, and then Rogers was in General Williams, you know, his name's still behind the bar. I'm not sure it's right, the Dominoes or the...
No, because he owes 20 quid.
I thought it was, yeah.
And 40 years ago, that was a lot of money.
As a cricket club, we did get into this, you know, we need to keep together in winter. So Roger said, let's have a couple of pints. So we started off, I think 79 now I look back, Stan, but I think it was 79 or 80.
I wouldn't argue, yeah.
Christmas drink.
Sticking those cloth beer towels into gaps in the bar shutter to keep the wind out. And drinking barley wine because it was the only thing. Barley wine was a beer, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That in the shutters was, I think, before me and Roger, you know, instigated the Christmas drink. Because then Roger said, right, we're all going to go to the General Williams and have a few pints. And that was 79 or 80.
Yeah.
Belasting turned up. I think Lofty turned up for a couple of pints. You were definitely there, and Brian Tracy and others.
I can remember Dave Wally being there.
Yeah, I think he turned up.
That's not 79, that.
No, it's later than that.
He's younger than me. He's Dave Wally. It was, well, I remember it being 1980 because I was 17 and my dad was there as well. So anyway, so we moved to the year after, 1980, and Roger decides, because there's half a dozen more people coming, there's 10 of us, we're going to go to the Bull and Butcher because they had a dartboard. They let us play dartboard.
Yeah.
And we're just thinking, right, this is now, we're evolving as a cricket club socially and keeping the lads together throughout the winter. So then it comes to, you know, I'm still only a young lad, but with Ken Smalley saying, you know, if you're spending money outside the club during the winter, why not come down to Lowerhouse? We'll open the bar. So I'm convinced that 1981 was the first Lowerhouse Cricket Club drink at the cricket club, which makes this year a 40th anniversary.
Wow.
Cricket club drink. So why not people come down and celebrate that with us?
Manage, can you remember your first Christmas drink or any particular stories from it?
Matt might remember this better than me, but I can remember when some older ones had gone home, we all lived behind the door with fire extinguishers and waited for John Prock to walk in and absolutely obliterated him. I think that was on Christmas.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we had a fire inspection about 3 months later, and Rusty got his arse handed to him by fire brigade because we were all empty. It's a bit reckless because we put them all back up wall, but I can remember that.
Stanley, do you not remember having absolutely no idea how to play Newmarket and you won?
You thought he had no idea how to play Newmarket.
After game, after game, after game.
Now, one of the people that we don't get on this podcast very often is Nikki. Nikki, hello.
Hello.
So, and also last year you had an event that you needed to go to, so you missed Anarchy that carried on for a couple of hours. So I would ask if you've played with everybody except for me, I think, on this call. Could you just tell me about what it was like playing with everybody on this call, please?
Wow, blimey. Well, I think mine and Stan's opening partnerships are well documented and absolutely legendary. So
I'm still in the hands of lawyers.
I'm not so sure we need to go through them, to be honest. Gav was quite interesting because we did try Gav as an opener quite a few times, and he went out to bat with me. And if we were ever playing against a quickish bowler, which we would have done at them times, the way to the wicket, Gav frequently asked me, "Are you shitting yourself as well?" And I said, no, not really, Gav. I said, just try and watch the ball. If it's going for your head, move. I've had some epic games with Uncle Ian. All over the show. Townley. Cherry Fold. Yeah, absolutely. Chapman. Arthur Greenwood.
Remember St Andrews?
St Andrews, yeah, remember that.
St Andrews, yeah.
In school, and we were out for 4. We bowled other team out for 2 on a Saturday morning. I were only about 9, and there's some guy at this old bloke, and I got under it, and it hit a telegraph wire on way down, and it hit me right flush on top of head. Because obviously we're only 9, I cried. So that wasn't good. Who else have we got here? Matt. Probably can't say a lot about Matt's fixtures because a lot of them are probably not broadcastable.
He tried hard.
Yeah, I played with Stanley when great bowler, and he were always, if a pro got him, we always brought him on to get pro out, and he generally did. And then I also played with him when he got yips, and we had to have like a 9 slip just to stop his wide one from going for 4 wides.
When I got yips at Tomerdin, we played that bad as a team. It looked like we'd never met each other.
But obviously, most of the stories, because we all batting with Stan for a long time.
Well documented, well legendary, and well boring.
Well, Stan, I'm just going to come on to that because I
not you, Nicky. You got on with it.
I think I bore the brunt of that because when we generally, Stan was so selfish. I'd be thinking like, obviously Stan couldn't run and stuff, so switching the equation. 4 overs from one end where he hadn't used his bat and padded it back. I felt like I had to go. I think I sacrificed my wicket quite many times because we were probably 6 for none off 8 overs, and Stan hadn't used his bat. So then I had to try and play shots that I wouldn't normally play because of how Stan had battered.
Cover drive.
Yeah, so it was. Please.
Nicky, just before he tells the tale, can you remember some of the arguments we used to have about you and Stan saying we bowl more half volleys? I like to face our attack because we bowl more half volleys than any other attacking league. Yeah. And it was always retort we like to bowl to our batters.
Yeah, because you won't hit them.
Because we don't hit half volleys.
Exactly. And when we went out to bowl, me and Stan would be fielding, obviously one in covers and one at point probably. And after like first 6 balls, I'd look at Stan and say, we've just sent them 4 fucking lollipops down there, and they're 16 for none off 1 over. and we hadn't had 1 ball to score off of first 8 overs. So that's what. And not only that, they didn't cover wickets or anything. Then they were always piss wet through. And it were a minefield.
You should see how bad they are now, Nicky.
Yeah, well, Joe, if I played now, if me and Stan played now, we'd get 1,200 apiece.
Not bad in a career, that.
And that's having a fortnight off in July.
Which of course, Nick, we'd take now, whereas in our day we didn't. We played. We played throughout the season and holidayed and married even out of the season.
Absolutely, Stanley. Yeah.
Nicky, were you captain or were it Matt captain when Stan didn't turn up for a game?
Me.
Yeah.
That was Matt.
Me.
Matt rang me. Matt rang me.
I had to ring it and he turned up. It was like under 15s game. I rung it. It was a rearranged game. And we'll get there as 10 men.
Ramsbottom, Matt.
Ramsbottom home. So I rings him, Jack answers the phone. I said, Stan, yeah, 1 second. Stan, Matt's on phone for you. Hiya, Matt. What can I do for you? Are you playing today or not? What are you on about? So we're all in, dressing room. we're waiting to play. Right, shit, I forgot. I'm on my way. So he turns up in his whites with his lime green Open Championship bag with orange piping, with his Gazelle trainers, moulded rubber shoes on. And they had, and Joe, this is no word of a lie. I can't remember if it was them or his Walsh's bowling boots, and fucking hell, they were underused. They had about a 35-foot lace. And he had to wrap them around his feet about 18 times. So he said, Stan, why don't you cut them? It took him 15 minutes to tie his laces.
He used to rock, didn't he? He used to rock on his boots.
Yeah, they were that thick. And he turned up, yeah. And it was about, I don't know if we were batting or bowling, but I think we were bowling because if we were batting, it'd have already been out. So it was that.
You've raised a few issues there, Matt. Let's just concentrate on the Open Championship bag. It was back in the day where coffins were in existence. But people, generally speaking, had old-fashioned bags. They actually had straps and buckles.
That's the
As I say, the coffin had come in.
Tackle.
Jez became an agent for Open Championship. Whatever happened to them? He says, Stanley, so do you fancy it? I said, yeah. I said, I'll have a new bag, Jez. So get me something, modernistic, but nothing outrageous. I am, after all, Stan Heaton, traditional cricketer, still wearing white button-up shirts. And bright green bag with orange piping. I'm not joking. It looked like an escape from Sherwood Forest. It was absolutely horrific. People could see me coming. They were using me on adverts for Dress to Be Safe in fog. It was absolutely... and I think I paid something like three times the going. Because, as Jess said, it was a unique bag. There's not many using these, Stan. I thought, I'm not fucking surprised.
Brilliant. I do remember one of my earliest games that I played, and I wasn't opening the batting there. I think it was probably number 4 or 5, and I guess, I don't know, I'll have been in early 20s or something like that, maybe. Stan had opened the innings and obviously held his bat because he hadn't used it. 10 overs. We were playing against Damien Fleming, a young Damien Fleming, at Enfield. And I think we were about 8 for 4, or I don't know, it might have been 10 for 5. And I went in, and so I thought, well, I'm batting with Stan. He's a legend of the club. He's played for hundreds of years, and I'm going to get some really good advice. And I was facing, because he just bowled somebody, and Stan said, come take your guard and come and have a chat with me. So I walked down the wicket, and Stan said, he said, well, I faced 7 balls off him, and everyone were different. So I don't really know what to tell you. And how many were right for that day? About 40.
I don't know. It was a hell of a player. Obviously, Australian Test player. I do agree with what Nicky said there. That I faced 7 balls off him, and everyone was different. I mean, that takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, Damien Fleming played for Enfield in '93. He didn't make his Test debut until '94, so he weren't a Test player when he played for Enfield.
No, but it was that. He must have been bloody near to it, Joe, to play the next year.
Joe, what was this?
9 for 27 off 20.2 overs.
Yeah. So we got 110 at other end.
Good effort.
Blimey.
So you can see why boring players like Stan Eaton had to keep people like that out.
Stan, you were a boring player. Don't let them grind you down.
We like watching.
It's a magic game, Jez. And what not many people realise, in Pabacor's year, I was one ball off winning the fastest 50.
Yeah, Stan,
I don't have to defend myself in front of these scurrilous attacks.
No, that's
Stan, what about that year when you were one ball off getting 500 for the season and that bloke sent it to square leg?
John Dawson.
John Dawson.
Yeah, it was John
And
Dawson.
I'm sure we've told this before, but I'll tell it again because talk about your lowest points, but ones you can laugh at. It slipped out of his hand. It was heading towards square leg, probably 10 yards from the wickets. And I thought, oh, I can hit that. Oh, 4 runs takes me to over 500 with 2 or 3 games left to the end of the season. So I pursued it, lifted my bat up to, and it must have been a worm cast or something because it shot. It had almost stopped and it shot forward and I missed it. Scurried back to me crease.
It was stationary.
Scurried back. No, it wasn't. It scurried.
It was.
Don't spoil the good story with the truth. Shot back to me crease, and Jez and several others were sunning themselves in front of the top gate, as was then, as is now. Been shut in between times, and Jez was doing the dying fly with his legs, and all I could hear was.
I can remember Ted smacking him all over down Lowerhouse.
Ted Whittle is the only person I've battered with who was crying at the wicket. Has anybody ever had? We played against Joe Angel at Burnley.
Got it that many times.
On a green top, and it were hard though. It was hard, the wicket, and he was bounding in, and me and Ted open batting, and third ball, so he hit Ted right under heart on his ribs. No helmet on, did Ted as well, and I went up and Ted was crying. Physically, he said that you can't believe how much that's hurt. And then Craig Light was the pro that year, so that tells what year it was. Ted were out bowled next, and Craig Light came out with no helmet on. He were a proper space cadet.
No, he didn't. He got up and walked down the steps without an helmet on.
Yes.
So what you doing? And he put one on.
He did. Well, I thought he faced a ball, Matt.
He might have done.
And the first ball he put an helmet on, he hit him on the head, and he went for 6 off his head. Down towards cricket field stand. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh, he thought he'd done something wrong. He was about 8 ball marks all over his body.
Pellets on his chest and yeah.
You know, I think them days it was your torso, I think. Yeah.
It was a torso.
It was.
I never realised I played with such soft arses.
Here, Stan.
You used to get it.
Get on with it.
Used to get it 30 times a game, and that was in the warm up.
Yeah, talking of which, Stan, that game against Joe Angel, you were supposed to play, and you took overtime for work.
Was that the same Brett Angel that when we were 64 or
Brett Angel, Joe's brother, Brett.
Order, Joe, order.
You were centre forward for Wimbledon.
Order, Joe. The same Joe Angel, who was 64, 4 all out at Lowerhouse. I got 24 and upped him for 6 into the aperture between the total and the batsman into the scorebox.
Also, in that game, there's another quite funny tale. I think one of Joe Angel got quite a lot of wickets, and we were pretty shit that era. And Prop got run out going for a 2 or a 3. and this bloke's running round boundary, and he come in, and he were about 19 yards out with Prop going back for 3rd. And he come back in and said, I didn't know it were pro. How many other 6'9" players have they got? Props. He picked it up in Wellington car park, whizzed it like an absolute shell over top of the stumps, and Proc had just turned round. I didn't know it were pro.
What about Agate getting run out going for a 3 off the first ball of a game?
Of the season.
An opening batter, first ball of the season, get run out going for a 3.
I was batting. That started manager's superstition of never watching the first ball of a game. I was batting with him at the time. I can't remember who was bowling. I think it might have been Sam Sanderson, I think, or something like that in the second team. And Aggers clipped it off his legs and shouted 3 straight away. And I thought, oh, that's optimistic. So anyway, I'm a junior player, so I ran as I did, and as I was getting in for my third run, I just heard the clatter of the wickets, and Aggers walking past me first ball of the season. One thing that we've never actually discussed on the podcast is Nicky as captain.
I'll summarise that now. Clueless.
So what we'll do, Nicky, is we'll go through your appraisal of your captaincy years, and then I presume the majority of people on here played under you, and we'll have some stories about it.
I think that's quite harsh, Stan. That I thought I was an excellent captain.
I think I've got your captaincy list here.
Yeah, trying to lead an absolute shower of shit. So I think I did a good job given the circumstances. But I would like to know the record. And I think you'll find that in the year I captained, Joe, I was selected for the league side for my performance with the bat. So I think I carried the bat myself with little help from everybody else, including Stan. I'm pretty sure I got over 500 on 1 or 2 of the years I captained.
What years did you do, Nick?
Joe, I've no idea. I can't remember, honestly.
No.
95 maybe, 95, 96.
No, I don't think so. Earlier than that.
Earlier?
I think so.
Well, you definitely did it later. You were captain when I made my debut in 2001. You were captain then.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Who were pros, Nick?
Pardon?
Who were the pros?
They all quit.
Martin van Jaarsveld, twice, I think.
Also, 99, 2000.
Were it? So 34, 35, blimey, yeah. Yeah.
2000, I remember debut, yeah. You were captain. You were definitely captain then.
Yeah.
All right. What was...
he was the best professional I've ever played with or against him.
Really? Against as well?
No, maybe not against, well, because I didn't spend enough time, but if he set his mind to get 100, he get 100. He were a quality batter. Quality.
He was, yeah.
I think Blez says that as well.
He were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He weren't always in the mood, but when he were, you just knew he were like, he never hit it off floor though, that helped, because he hardly got caught that year at all. Great player.
What about playing under Nicky? Because I can remember when I was at school with Cos, we used to talk about cricket when we were there, and that you were captain. Because Shez, you were captain of the twos at the same time, I think.
Yeah, that was another very disappointing part of my career.
So where did we come in my captaincy years?
So yeah. So what we're saying, 2000, 2001?
Yeah.
2000, we finished thoroughly mid-table, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8th.
Which in them days were a bloody achievement.
2001, 6th.
Oh, there you go, Joe.
So we're getting better. Yeah. We're upward trend.
Yeah, say no more.
Joe, can I just interject here?
Yeah, please.
If you played in a side under a Hope, you played under a hard-bitten, tough campaigning, wanting to win, never give up captain. And all three were inspirational. I think
that was a book coming here.
No, there's no but till we get to Nick. Matt and Jez were bowlers, so they had an awful lot to think about. They had to think about everything under the sun when we were fielding, including how they best used themselves. And obviously, Nick was a batsman. So Nick could probably add a little more of a comfort zone to think about things. But under their captaincy, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we played to win. And I suspect that them three lads, like myself, wished that we played now.
Absolutely.
Wish that we played now on the tracks that we play on, in the facilities that we've got, in the environment that we've got. You'll not hear me. I'm teasing about Nick. Oh, I will tell you a story in a minute. Those lads epitomise Lowerhouse Cricket Club. Epitomise everything about Lowerhouse Cricket Club. Solid lads, great lads, team spirit, will to win, everything.
I do remember throwing my toys out once, Joe. And we were at Enfield. I don't know if anybody remembers it. And it's not because I got some runs. And David Seiko bowled and gave me some fearful stick because I played and missed more than 8 ball. But I think I got 80 or 90. And we lost the game off the last ball of the game because it went through John Proctor's legs on boundary, and we came into the dressing room and I was absolutely fucking fuming. And I lost all my dignity and everything because I just said, "You're all a set of wankers." Picked me bag up in my whites, got in my car and drove home. So I do remember that.
One of the funniest games under Nicky. And it weren't because of Nicky's captain, it's because of how we were sometimes as a team, a little bit inconsistent. I can remember when we batted all overs for 51 against East Lancs. We finished 51 for 9.
At home or away, I don't remember.
At home. We batted all the overs and finished 51 for 9. As it's almost impossible to do. Me and Jez were in the end against Claude Henderson.
Oh, yeah. He could bowl though, couldn't he? Right.
Yeah. And Jez just decided, senior man, let's not get out. So we finished 51 for 9 off 50 overs.
Wow. I remember that though, Stan. I'd like to say that was the start of the better times because me and Jez particularly, Matt to a lesser extent lately, we were playing fairly serious football at Belvedere then, and we were fit as fiddles. I might have been a bit later, but Malcolm Yardley were training us, and we were. I know you might laugh now, but we were fit as butcher's dogs and playing fairly serious and getting fairly professional as far as Belvedere can get professional. And we're winning all sorts, Lancashire Cups and all sorts.
Yeah.
And then I said, why don't we like this at Lowerhouse? Because at Belvedere, we would have killed to beat somebody. It didn't matter who we were. We knew everyone really played and said, right, he's their best player, Jez. Within the first 5 minutes, you have to knock him over at stand. And lo and behold, Jez knocked him over at stand. And so he then either couldn't play or limped all the way through the game. And then the next, amongst our best player by miles, we get the ball, somebody knob at left back, give it him, and we won, loads of games. So why can't we transfer that to the cricket club? Because we were always turning up and thinking, we're going to lose here, we're going to lose. And I think that's what we did. I think, and obviously Martin helped fantastically because he just said, if he said I'm going to get 100, he got 100. And bowled fairly meanly and all. To say he weren't a bowler, he had a plan. And he just fired into thigh pad of right-handers, and they couldn't score off him.
Yeah, you're right, Nick. I mean, obviously, I don't know what the cricket equivalent is, knocking the left back over, right winger over the stand. But and we were playing, and this shouldn't be undermined. And I don't want to sound like an old soldier, but today's professionals with the greatest of respect to them, are very tidy cricketers, but they're not international cricketers. Many of them aren't even first-class cricketers of any great note, and amateur players had to play against them. I would say sometimes the wickets were a leveler. You know, Michael Oldham, he leaves his hand at 90 miles an hour. He hits your bat at 65 miles an hour because it's sunk into the pitch. You know, I'll have some of that. But we played in extremely difficult times, and we tried to be, on occasions, when I say on occasions, I mean some years maybe not, but we tried to be quite professional. Nowadays it's amateur cricket, or as you might argue, semi-professional cricket, but with a very much more professional outlook, and everybody buys into it.
And good for them, absolutely, because it's a better watch. But like I say, if you could put the pros of 20 years ago on the pictures that they're playing on now, and with the standard of the amateurs now, it would have been a fantastic watch, wouldn't it?
Well, they would, Nick, and I go as far as to say this: if, and I've mentioned you three, Jez, Matt, and Nick, if you're three, and Gary Morris, and there are others, if your four attitudes could be transplanted into today's cricketers, my God, what a machine that would be. Mm. Because I'm sorry to say this, in the modern world, I think there's a bit of a softness. And if this goes out on social media, so be it. There's a bit of a softness about society. And that softness is, and when I say softness, I don't mean jelly softness. I just mean outlook softness. And that transmits itself into cricket. So today's cricketers, for instance, I don't think, with a few exceptions, nobody's going to accuse Paddy Martin, Joe Martin, and Ben Heap of being soft. But that hard-bitten, gutsy attitude of the olden days isn't as prevalent today, in my opinion.
Stan, you're 100% right in the way things have turned. But then I lighten it a little bit. I've watched a bit of cricket yesterday and today and listened to commentators, and Ian Chappell is quite vocal on Test Match Special, and I have never heard as much shite in my life. How he talks about in the 60s and 70s when they played, we did this, we did the other. The game's changed, without a doubt, bigger bats, better pitches, whether you're talking of international cricket or our level of cricket, and people's attitudes change, the priorities change. We never trained, we tried hard, and I really appreciate what you're saying about, us three and Gary, but you would work your nuts off and try and do as well as you can. But you look at, I'll never forget, I think we had it with Dooch and Charlie Cotton, how that the first team, they won the league through sheer commitment of training and planning and organisation and getting things right. So the point I'm trying to make is that times change. Me and you didn't have PlayStations. Now all of a sudden they're on all these different other mediums. So things do change. And it's not always for the worse. Sometimes it's for the better, and they'll still have the crack that like we had the crack.
Yeah, I totally accept that, Jez, and I totally agree, that people are the product of their times.
Yeah.
That view of it. I think that one thing we can say about all Lowerhouse sides since our beginnings, they were gutsy.
Yeah.
They were gutsy.
The point I'm making, Stan, is that fielding was a case of you stop the ball going for four or you catch it. Whereas now they practice sliding past the ball, picking it up, throwing to the mate who throws it in and runs someone out. And I know for our first team, you look at first class cricket at 2020s, they practice the ball going literally probably 20 foot over the boundary edge, but they
they train how to jump up, catch it, and throw it back in.
Yes, yeah.
Me and you used to have our old Walshes on to protect our ankles when we stepped down the edge.
Stan, can you tell us about the time when it might have been at Colne when the sun was in your eyes?
They're classics.
That's a good
exactly.
example. Good example.
I will tell you because I have no problem laughing at myself. I do that every day in the mirror. It was a difficult weekend. On the Saturday, we'd played East Lancs, and I'd hit the ball to extra backward point, an easy 2. I ran down, turned and slid, and sprung off in the acceptable coaching fashion. To be met my John Proctor, who was much quicker than myself, on the wrong side of the track, and he trampled me to the deck. Picked myself up, gathered my bat, went hell for leather for the wicket-keeping end for a 2. And by that time, I'd developed a technique whereby if I saw the wicket-keeper's eyes light up, I knew that the ball was about to hit the gloves. That was the point that I would dive. Unfortunately for me, Dave Pearson was ahead of me. His eyes lit up, I dived, I was an inch short and they hadn't even thrown the ball. I tried to crawl in, but they threw the ball and I fell short. I was run out. I was utterly humiliated. I gave Proc the biggest uphill and downhill bollocking you've ever heard on a cricket pitch for running down the wrong side of the track and trampling me into the ground. I'd almost got over that. We got to Colne the following day. Cameron Williamson's the professional. He didn't like me. I tried to like him.
Why didn't you like you, Stan?
I don't know. How can you not like me? I tried to like him, but in the view of the fact he didn't like me, he sort of rubbed off on me. Playing at Colne, I'm fielding bowling green. I'm at 3/4 mid-off. Fielder smacks it out. And I thought, oh, happy days. A diving catch. My speciality. Just as I was about to take off, the sun popped its head over the pavilion and absolutely bloody blinded me. So I dived off smell. Couldn't see the ball. Threw myself up in the air, hovered, and then hit the deck like a sack of spuds as the ball bounced 35 yards to my left-hand side. I was absolutely nowhere near it. Pulled a full toss. I was at square leg and just leapt up one-handed and caught it. John Edmondson ran 30 yards, double somersaulted, caught it in one hand. I could go on and on.
No, don't.
I could go on and on, but in all seriousness, I'm a big chap and I was cumbersome.
Iggy said you were a great catcher, Stan.
I never gave it. Just tell you one last story because I don't want it to be about me. Well, I do, but the last season, 2002, I think it was. I'm 44. I chase a ball to the pole. I've got my cap and my sunglasses on because I did get into the 90s, even though it was 2000 and on. And I dive full length, scooped it back, stood up. My cap had gone left, my sunglasses had gone right. I looked like Ben Hill, Fred Scuttle. Threw it in, and Matt Hope couldn't gather it for laughing. And I'll never forget this. I can't remember who was batting. He got to the runner's end and he said, "You're fucking laughing, Matt." He said, "But I wish our players did that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Well done, Stan.
Just one more, Stan.
Yeah.
Can you remember when I got it through covers at Burnley to run after it and ended up in grass cuttings?
Oh, for fuck's sake. It was in the first over, Stanley. Wide third man. I thought, real dude. Sliding stop, big Stan. Sliding stop, one-handed scoop. Whizzed in as I rise.
I do remember this, yeah.
Yes. Jess, you won't forget this. they got a grass cutting stopper in the Wellington corner, and it had rotted, seeped, gone across the concrete and saturated the boundary edge. I aquaplaned in diluted grass cuttings, stood up, threw it in. I've got it in my hair, face, button-up shirt, traditions, button-up shirt. I'm pissed wet. It's the first ball. It's either the first ball or the first over. And I'll tell you what, I had to field in it in baking hot sun. I stuck to high heaven. They wouldn't let me sit with them at tea time. They all sat in the change rooms, and I had to sit outside because I stunk. They were throwing chicken and fucking lettuce at me. Yeah, you don't come in here. You're not coming in here for your tea. Sausage rolls, throwing them at me. And then I had to go out and open the batting.
Where's old Gummidge fielding at fine leg?
Yeah.
I think that's the one you're on about, Paul.
It is, yeah. And when you were walking opposite direction at Nelson, that were a belt to that. Ball went past you for 4. You were walking towards wall.
What?
Yeah, that's because he was shouting at Sean.
Walking down towards the nets where he used to keep the nets in the box.
Yeah, ball trickled past you for 4.
No, I stopped it, Stanley. I stopped it. Speedway, motorway corner. So we stop! And I turned around, it's there. Poof, bounced on it, threw it in. Lucky.
Stop it.
What about that time you fielded in your helmet, Stan? When was that?
I've done better than that, Shirley. I fielded in a tam o' shanter.
What?
A tam o' shanter, you know, the Scottish hat with the bobble.
Oh, yeah.
Steve G insisted on, in those days.
But you wish you'd have played in a more professional environment. Fucking dickhead.
In those days, if one game started, you couldn't replay them. And Steve G insisted on starting against Richmond. And in protest, I fielded at third man in front of the park. Very unusual for me because I like to be in front of the scorebox. And I went out to field in a tam o' shanter. I got a bollocking when soon as Steve G saw it. Threw it back onto the bench. We bowled 3 balls, game cancelled. So the whole of the league couldn't be replayed. And that was my protest. Fielding in the covers, what do? You fielding at short leg, because I want a bad short leg either. Fielding at short leg, right stamp, covers next over. Do you run and put your helmet down, or do you wear it? I chose to wear it.
And we were all showing, no, Stan, it'll waste too much time. Keep it on. Covers for 3 overs with his helmet on.
I was naive in those days. I'd do anything to support the team.
Gary were proper mad at that, weren't he?
But Gary, Brian Morris, what a star, what a character. And of course, Gary was his son. And it was beautiful. A few years ago, maybe 3-4 years, Grace came up and helped Jez and myself paint the decking. Remember that, Jez?
Yeah.
Absolute. And Bethany came up whilst Grace was there.
Yeah.
Absolute. And then we went, of course, to Nicky's wedding and Gary and Fran were there. Absolutely wonderful. But Gaz, as a captain, you couldn't see you were playing under Tommy Cooper. He was our balls.
I'll tell you what, Stan, just what you're on about Brian. The other day I was cleaning out some old boxes in the garage, and I found some old CDs that we produced when the club was on its arse, and Mark Whitehead was raising money, etc. with those. I can't remember the name of the whole CD. We did about 3 CDs. And there are some stories on there, and Brian tells the story about going to Blackpool and bringing his mate on. We maybe, within a podcast, maybe cut them stories in, because, you know, I'm just driving along and I thought, what's on this disc? And I put it on, and it had been, you know, my Clash or Sex Pistols old CD. And then I put another one on, and it was Nicky's Bay City Rollers CD. And then And then I found another one, and it came on, Joe Benedictio. And then it would roll on, and Edward Lee's on there, Harry Brooks, and obviously that story from Brian Morehouse.
Yeah.
Well, Morehouse tells that story, Jez.
Fantastic. Well,
The Christmas do at Blackpool.
Absolutely, that's an absolute classic.
Yeah.
Now, memories are memories, all to be treasured. Our favourite memory was at the end of a season, we went on a cricket club day out to Blackpool, end of season trip. Now then, unknown to me, there was another trip from Burnley from the post office. And it so happened we had a good day out, a really good day out, plenty of beer, plenty of singing, making our way back to Princess Street car park. And underneath the railway bridge, there was this body led in the gutter. I got nearer to it and I said to Fred Bates, I said, that looks a bit like Ronnie Berry. So we turned him over, and Ronnie Berry was a post office worker. And he was been on the post office trip. So we picked him up. I said, come on, we'll take him back, put him on his coach. We got to the coach station, only our coach on. So I said to Fred, I said, come on, let's get him on our bus. I'll take him home. He only lives around the corner from me. So I ripped him off the bus, still hadn't come round, still flat out, full of beer. Walked him up Rosdale Avenue, got to his cottage door, knocked on the door, no light, 3 o'clock in the morning. No light whatsoever, no answer. Banged and banged and banged again, went through his pocket looking for his household key, could not find one. All of a sudden, the lady next door in the next cottage, bedroom window open. What's going on down there? Oh, I said, hello, Mrs. Robson. I said, I've just brought Bonnie back from Blackpool. I said, I can't get him in. Says you won't be able to do. He went with his mother this morning for a week.
Order! Send Morehouse to save the house!